Hi, my name is Gregory Czarnecki. I'm the head chef of the restaurant at Waterkloof. And for you today, I'll be presenting you a dish that I used to serve at the restaurant, which is a braised lamb shoulder with 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪 2016. So usually I do the recipe over 2 days at the restaurant, just also for the presentation wise, but also for flavor, because the first day we take care of the braising part, and then we're gonna lay it rest in the fridge, and the next day pretty much like the rest, which is the taking care of the bulgur wheat, the sultanas, and also the glazing of the lamb in the oven. So let's get started. First step is to debone the lamb. So you can ask your butcher to do it for you. I prefer to do it myself, but yeah, let's get started. So now we're gonna go on to the seasoning. So simple like salt and pepper. And then after that, we're gonna put the magical spice. So let's start with salt. You can be generous. It's a big piece of meat. Then the black pepper or white pepper if you prefer. For this, for meat, I prefer to cook with black pepper. And then the magical spice, 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗪. So 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗪 is from Northern Africa, and it's a mix of like different spices. So you'll have cayenne pepper, coriander, rose petal. So there's really a lot of like spice. You can get those mixtures already made at your local supermarket. But what I like about it is that it's very fragrant and delicate, and you get the flavor of the spice without the spiciness, the hotness of it. So be quite generous. And there you go. Now we're gonna go on to the rolling part. Okay, let's shape the meat by like flipping towards the inside and give it like a shape as much as possible of a bowl, making sure everything is flat on the inside. And there's the string work that's gonna start. So we're gonna make pretty much a little balloon. So you keep some on this end, make sure it's folded neatly. And from there, we're going to continue every time towards the middle. Stop. There we go, it's almost finished. Nice knot on the top. The idea is to keep the meat together during the braising process. Make sure it's poured nice and tight. Alright, the hardest part of the recipe is done. You have your little lamb bowl. As you can see, everything stays in shape. And now we're gonna start like braising this. Okay, so we're gonna start the braising process by giving some color to the meat. After that, we'll like sweat like a mirepoix, which is like a vegetable garnish. And then we'll add some of the roasted bones that we had inside the meat that when we debone. But so if you ask the butcher to debone it, please make sure that it gives you the bones with. So yeah, let's get started. Take like a dish that is obviously quite high and especially oven proof, and then give it some nice color to the meat. On all the surfaces, and then when it's ready, we'll clear it on the side and then start sweating the mirepoix garnish, so the vegetables that is going to help get your braising liquid very tasty. Alright, so now the meat's got like a nice color on the around, as you can see, so we're gonna clear it. Just put it aside for now. And we're gonna start sweating the mirepoix. So a mirepoix is basically like a vegetable aromatic garnish, and it always consists of usually the same base, which is onion, celery, carrot, leeks, garlic, thyme, and bay leaf. So this is about like 1 onion, 2 branches of like celery, about like 1 big leek and like 1 carrot. So we're just gonna put like everything in and just slow down a bit the heat. While the bones are like oven roasting and extracting all the flavors and taking some nice color, we're gonna sweat that like gently. So you just put everything in the pot and gently sweat it all the way. Later on, we will add a bit of a tomato base, so just like normal, like diced tomatoes. So if you have like fresh tomatoes, just put like fresh tomatoes. If you don't have, just like a can of like diced tomato or whole peeled tomatoes will do the trick. Okay, now the mirepoix is almost ready, nicely sweated. The bones are all nicely roasted, so we're just gonna add a bit of like tomato base. So here I'm just adding a tin of like diced tomato. But like I say, whole tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, or even tomato paste will do the work. So we just add that to it, mix it a bit to make sure it goes everywhere. We're gonna place the lamb in the middle. Get all those juices. I'm gonna add the bones, which just came out of the oven. So what I did is I asked the butcher to give me about 200-300 grams of like extra lamb bones. So you want to cut them as small as possible, just to be able to, when it roasts, to extract as much flavor as possible. So that was just on a roasting dish tray in the oven with a pinch of oil. Don't put too much fat, because obviously lamb intend to be like quite fatty, so it will release a lot of the fat. And then we're just gonna put that on the side of the meat. And then pretty much after that, we're gonna cover it with water to the level, put a lid, and in the oven. So braising is basically like roasting, but it's roasting with liquid and a lid. So it will go at about 160 degrees for about 2 hours and a half. You want that meat to be completely almost comfy and start coming off in pieces, a bit like a braised lamb shank. That's the idea of it. So why do I do it over 2 days? It's simply because if you leave the meat to rest overnight, it will carry the flavor in a system that's called osmosis, where all the flavors are going to travel through the meat and carry out. So you want all that seasoning, and especially that 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗓 with all those nice flavors of chili, cayenne pepper, nutmeg, cinnamon, rose petal, to carry through the whole flavor of the meat. So now all the bones are in. We're gonna add water, and we're gonna bring it to the boil and then put it in the oven. So you want to fill up with water to the level, just like this. And now we're gonna bring it to the boil. All right, the whole mixture has come back to the boil. So like I said, braising with the liquid, put the lid, and now it goes in the oven. 2 hours and a half, 160 degrees. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I've let it cool down for about like half an hour. I'm gonna remove it. Just clear it directly. And we're gonna give it a couple of minutes to just cool down. This, we're gonna keep it here for now. Once it's cooled down, I'm gonna put it in the fridge overnight just to let like the flavor infuse. So pretty much the same process for the braising liquid than the meat. So this is just gonna stay like that. Once it's cool enough, in the fridge overnight. Alright, so for the cling wrap, try to choose like non-perforated, pre-perforated. That will be like easier. As you can see, I'm a chef, so I deal with like real professional cling wrap, but the normal cling wrap from the supermarket will work. So we just want to put the lamb shoulder without the strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it nicely and just place it upside down like this. Make sure that there's no strings left in case. And then we're going to start the cling wrapping. So you want to keep that shape of a bowl. So at the beginning you just do like putting on top, and once you start getting the size, we're going to apply a bit more strength on it. Alright, day 2 of the recipe. The braising liquid, I spent the night in the fridge, so you had time to like infuse all the flavors. Now we're gonna bring it to the boil and let it boil for about like 25 minutes, just to get all those flavors. Then we will strain it and start reducing it. The lamb shoulder, also spend the night in the fridge. As you can see, like now it's nice and firm. And the idea is to cut it in 4 perfect wedges and peel off the cling wrap. We're gonna lay it out in a roasting dish and add some of the braising liquid, and we're gonna start glazing it in the oven at about 120 degrees. So while the braising liquid is coming back to the boil, we can get the lamb shoulder ready, and we're gonna start on our garnish, which is the bulgur and sultanas. So we're gonna cut the bowl into 4 neat wedges. So it's going to be a bit difficult at the beginning, just to go through the cling wrap. And there you go, you can see the inside, fat, the spices, and the meat all in shape. So now we're just going to recut those wedges in 2. And we're going to peel the cling wrap, just like a banana. And there you go. A neat little wedge of braised shoulder. Okay, the braising liquid has reduced like now and been cooking for 25 minutes, so I have about 1/3 left. It's time to pour it over the wedges of lamb shoulder. And now it's gonna go in the oven 120 degrees. So 120 degrees simply because you don't want to dry the meat out while you're doing the whole basting process. So the basting process is about every 5 minutes. You're going to take the roasting dish out and just with a spoon just cover that liquid over the wedges, so you get that stickiness glaze over it. Okay, so don't rectify too much the flavor of the liquid like now. It's gonna still reduce in the oven. Well, that's it. Pretty much everything is ready. As you can see, the wedges are like nicely glazed. The braising liquid has reduced quite a lot. So you can keep on glazing it if you want to, but it's just going to make the glaze much stronger in flavor. So eventually it will taste more bitter. So I think right now is about the right time to just stop it. And there you go, your bulgur wheat with sultanas, a bit of black mint and lemon zest, just warmed up with a bit of black butter, and your raised shoulder with the resident nuts that's been braised and glazed. All right, can go on to the plating now.